Welcome to Southwest Desert, where adventure meets the arid beauty of the American Southwest. Join us as we explore the rugged landscapes, uncover hidden historical gems, and dive deep into the rich legends and culture of this iconic region. Subscribe now and hit the bell icon so you don't miss out on our latest desert adventures. Please leave a like or comment. This is very helpful. Let's journey together into the heart of the Southwest Desert. In the harsh, unforgiving landscape of Death Valley, where summer temperatures regularly soar above 120 degrees and water is scarce as gold itself, there once stood a town called Skidoo. Its story begins not with careful planning but with a mistake, a fateful wrong turn in a rare Death Valley fog. But before diving into those beginnings, listeners should know how this town's story ends, because sometimes the end reveals more about a place than its beginning. In April 1908, a man known locally as Hooch Simpson attempted to rob the Skidoo Bank on a quiet Sunday morning. When he failed, he returned 3 hours later with a gun and murdered Jim Arnold, a beloved resident. The sheriff arrested Simpson, but by Wednesday night the citizens of Skidoo had taken matters into their own hands. An armed mob broke into the jail, dragged Simpson out, and hanged him from a telephone pole. Frontier justice was common in these remote mining towns, but what happened next was extraordinary even by those standards. When a Los Angeles Herald reporter arrived on Friday wanting photographs of the hanging, the obliging citizens of Skidoo actually exhumed Simpson's body and hanged it again, just for the photo opportunity. The coroner's official finding was simply death by strangulation by persons unknown. This macabre episode speaks volumes about life in Skidoo, a place so removed from civilization that it created its own rules, its own justice, and apparently its own photo ops. But to understand how things reached this point, we must return to the town's unusual origins. The year was 1906 when two prospectors, Harry Ramsey and a one-eyed man known only as Thompson, found themselves disoriented in an unusual fog. They were heading for a place called Harrisburg, about 6 miles south, but their navigational error led them to a massive gold deposit instead. Their accidental discovery would soon transform this empty stretch of the Panamint Range into a bustling town. Word of their find quickly reached Bob Montgomery, a mining magnate from nearby Rhyolite. Recognizing the potential, Montgomery reportedly paid $100,000 in cash, equivalent to over $3 million today, for several claims in the area. This substantial investment acted as a catalyst, and by mid-1906, prospectors and miners were flooding into this remote corner of Death Valley. The settlement that formed wasn't in an easily accessible location. Perched at the top of the Panamint Range, it was described poetically as where the western wall of Death Valley fades off into thin air. More precisely, it sat about 27 miles from Stovepipe Wells Village, 7 miles east and north of the Emigrant Canyon-Trona Road, and 10.5 miles south of the junction with State Route 190. This inaccessibility led to the town's peculiar name. 23 Skidoo was popular slang at the time, meaning something like "get out of here" or "scram." But for this mining camp, the 23 had practical significance. The nearest water source was exactly 23 miles away, toward Telescope Peak. Mining without water is impossible, and hauling water that distance over rugged mountain terrain would have made the operation impractical. Montgomery's financial resources solved this seemingly insurmountable problem. He installed an 8-inch pipeline all the way from Telescope Peak to the camp, an extraordinary engineering achievement for 1906. With that vital infrastructure in place, Skidoo was ready to boom. By late 1906, Skidoo was transforming from a collection of tents and claims into a proper town. Saloons and stores were rapidly constructed. Stage routes for mail and express deliveries were established from both east and west. And in October, the settlement received official recognition with its own post office. Many residents actually migrated from nearby Harrisburg, which was being abandoned as Skidoo grew. By spring 1907, the population exceeded 500 people. The town now boasted a school for its children, a weekly newspaper called the Skidoo News, telephone service extended from Rhyolite, and telegraph connections linking the remote community to the wider world. The amenities continued to multiply. Multiple stores offered goods that had to be hauled in over difficult terrain. Various saloons provided entertainment and social spaces. A bank opened to handle the increasing wealth flowing from the mines. And, as was common in mining towns of that era, a red light district emerged on the outskirts. Real estate speculation drove property values to remarkable heights. Choice lots were selling for up to $1,000, approximately $30,000 in today's money. This was truly extraordinary for a location that had been unmarked wilderness just 1 year earlier. But gold rush towns often burn bright and fast, and Skidoo was no exception. By late 1907, just 18 months after its founding, the decline had begun. Two main factors were at play. First, a nationwide financial panic hit in late 1907, drying up investment. Second, the promotion phase was over. The easy money had been made selling claims and lots. In 1908, the Skidoo Mines Company acquired the main operations, transforming Skidoo from a freewheeling boomtown into what was essentially a company town. This was when the infamous Simpson incident occurred, marking a turning point in the town's history and creating the story that would long outlive the town itself. Despite the decline from its boom days, mining operations in Skidoo continued productively for years. The total gold production exceeded 1.5 million, close to 50 million in today's dollars. The operation included a 15-stamp mill and a cyanide plant for treating the ore, representing significant industrial development in this remote location. The mines kept producing until 1917, when the post office finally closed, typically considered the official end of a town's existence in that era. But the story didn't end there completely. There were periodic revivals with small-scale operations in later years. In the late 1930s, there was even a 25-ton cyanide plant operating in nearby Emigrant Canyon, processing ore from the old Skidoo mines. Today, visitors to the Skidoo site will find very little remaining. No intact buildings have survived the harsh Death Valley elements, just a few collapsed structures, the ruins of the wind-damaged stamp mill, some mine portals, and several graves at the Skidoo mine site, west and above the town's former location. It's difficult to imagine that this silent, windswept spot once housed 500 souls, with all their dreams, schemes, triumphs, and tragedies. Yet the evidence of their presence remains in the scattered ruins and in the stories passed down through the decades. Skidoo's greatest technical achievement was undoubtedly that remarkable water pipeline. Building an 8-inch pipe over 23 miles of mountainous terrain in 1906 was an engineering feat that demonstrated both the determination of the miners and the financial commitment of their backers. Without that water, there would have been no Skidoo. It shows how much infrastructure had to be created from scratch in these remote locations. These weren't just camps. They were instant communities that had to solve complex logistical problems. The isolation of Skidoo cannot be overstated. The nearest established settlements were miles away over difficult terrain. News traveled by stagecoach or telegraph. Supply runs would have been major expeditions. In many ways, these mining towns were like islands. They had to be largely self-sufficient while also maintaining vital connections to the outside world to sell their gold and bring in necessities. Yet despite these challenges, for a brief moment, Skidoo thrived. It had everything a proper town needed: governance, commerce, education, communication, entertainment. That's what makes these ghost towns so fascinating. They remind us how quickly human settlements can appear and disappear, how tenuous our grip on permanence really is. Especially when that settlement is built on a non-renewable resource like gold. Once the gold ran out or became too expensive to extract, the economic reason for Skidoo's existence vanished. The people moved on, buildings were abandoned or dismantled for materials, and nature began the slow process of reclaiming the site. Join my Patreon community and discover my art print products on my website in the links provided in my description and link above. Also, if you would like a particular image from my videos, give the timestamp for image, and I will upload it to my website and Patreon. Thank you for joining your desert frontiersman Alan for another Southwest Gold story. Check out my large catalog of Southwest videos and playlists on historical tales, legends, lost gold stories, and adult bedtime stories. If you like a certain image from my videos, tell me in comments and give timestamp. Happy trails! Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe for more great content. Hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. See you in the next video.